I think it's ridiculous. Jake Paul's taking the piss, like he always does. Just from saying I'm going to fight AJ tonight, fighting Gervonta Davis. Yeah. Who's 100 pounds in weight lighter. 100 pounds. Weight divisions in boxing are split up, some of them, the lower weights, by 3 or 4 pounds. All I can say about Jake Paul fighting somebody half his size is, he's a bully. Why are you fighting that?
A war between these two guys. And, you know, I think sometimes when you get two guys that don't have a lot to lose, but have everything to gain, you just get great fights. You know, both these guys, I promised them, I said, the winner of this fight will be involved in a big fight internationally.
In a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me.
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd? You know, that's one of my favorite fighters. But yeah, no.
I mean, I don't really take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. He swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, he does so much wrong. It's just, everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defense.
Carl Froch, Tony Bellew, and boxing greats rip Jake Paul for fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. Carl Froch didn't hold back when asked about Jake Paul's latest stunt, choosing to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. The former world champion humiliated Paul with a brutally honest breakdown, and to be fair,
it's wrong. Yeah. He's gone from Krusty the Clown now to Sideshow Bob. He's getting worse. You know what I mean? Like, this is a guy that's just taking a piss out of the sport, and I don't think this is actually gained much interest. The press conference was dead. Yeah, I noticed there wasn't many press there. It's not had a big media coverage. Yeah. I think people are finally realising, actually, that this is a big charade. And yeah, I think I'm not impressed. Gervonta Davis, I think maybe he's had enough of the game.
He's absolutely spot on. To Froch, this fight doesn't feel like boxing. It feels like a circus act, an event designed to shock and sell tickets rather than honor the sport. Jake should be ashamed of himself. Froch blasted, accusing the YouTuber turned boxer of targeting a man so much smaller. Tank Davis, after all, is one of boxing's finest pound-for-pound fighters. But he's built for the lightweight division, not to stand across the ring from a man...
That Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think, but the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November. I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is
nearly twice his size. To Froch, this isn't bravery, it's bullying. And Froch wasn't finished there. He doubled down, tearing Jake Paul apart with comparisons that cut deep. Tank is a quarter of Jake's size, Froch sneered, dismissing the whole thing as laughable. Fans had wanted...
It's insane. It's just insane. I mean, he's half his size.
He never fails to surprise us, does he, Jake Paul? Man?
Fair play. Listen, he's a marketing genius, but when it comes to people depicting his fights, I can't get my head around it. Like, I don't know, like, what kind of freak show people are going to be seeing, but people are going
to see Jake test himself against a genuine challenge. Someone like Anthony Joshua, a cruiserweight contender, or even a ranked heavyweight. Instead, Paul has opted for what Froch calls a mismatch, hiding behind the illusion of spectacle. Froch's words echo what boxing purists already know: this so-called fight is nothing short of a disgrace. Tony Bellew joins the criticism. Froch isn't the only former champion unimpressed. Tony Bellew...
Really
legitimate power.
Yes, isn't he? We haven't really seen Jake Paul take a proper...
No, I mean,
shot.
Listen, he'll have a lot of smoke blowing up his backside by his coaching team and people like that, but when he gets hit for real, with 10 ounce, well, I'm told it's 16 ounce gloves now, it's like an exhibition.
Bellew added fuel to the fire with his own scathing assessment. To Bellew, Jake Paul might be a marketing genius, but this fight is nothing more than a freak show. Tank Davis is half his size, Bellew said bluntly. Yet Jake has the audacity to dress this up as a legitimate contest. Bellew pointed out that this is the same playbook Paul has used throughout his career: create buzz, sell tickets, stir headlines, but disrespect the sport in the process. However, Bellew also exposed why Jake might actually be in danger this time. Jake hasn't taken a real shot yet, Bellew explained, and Tank Davis, despite being smaller, is not the man you want testing your chin for the first time. Even in an exhibition setting with heavier gloves, Jake will be...
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You pay me?
100%, yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes?
desperate for protection. Because if Tank lands clean with those unforgiving 8-ounce gloves, it's lights out, no question. Bellew predicts the hype bubble will burst the very moment Tank connects. To him, this is Jake Paul at his most arrogant. Recently, Paul has been calling Tank Davis his employee, a line dripping with delusion. Real fight fans see it for what it is, disrespect, not confidence. Tank Davis isn't Ben Askren. The point Bellew stressed is that Tank Davis isn't like the YouTubers or faded athletes Jake Paul has been picking off. He's not Ben Askren, Nate Robinson, or even Tyron Woodley. Tank Davis is a world-class fighter, one of boxing's deadliest finishers, with years of elite-level experience. Jake may think he's the boss of this promotion, but when the bell...
I think it's a very dangerous fight, because we've got a trained athlete who's 18 stone plus against a much smaller guy who really, he's not, you know, he hasn't earned the right.
Bell rings in November. The only thing he'll be managing is damage control after Tank leaves him flat on the canvas. Duke McKenzie calls it dangerous. Duke McKenzie, a respected voice in British boxing, didn't mince his words either. He called the matchup dangerous, unfair, and flat-out wrong. McKenzie pointed to the staggering reality: Jake Paul outweighs Tank Davis by nearly 100 pounds. In boxing, that's not just a gap, it's a canyon. Tank Davis has earned his reputation the hard way, McKenzie said. He's gone to war with elite fighters, proving himself against champions. Jake Paul, meanwhile, has built hype off mismatches and social media antics. To put an 18-stone man against one of the sport's smallest champions isn't brave, it's reckless.
I hate Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. It'll probably do massive numbers. So that's when you really have to differentiate yourself between, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it isn't going to do good business. However you want to be involved with it is another kettle of fish. I don't want to be involved with it, but I do respect the fact that it's going to do big numbers. It's just not boxing. And I don't think we should promote it as boxing.
It's not clever.
It's a mockery.
And yet, McKenzie also highlighted a twist Jake may not see coming. Jake Paul's arrogance blinds him to the fact that Tank's speed, timing, and skill could still cut him apart. Even with the weight gap, Davis's sharpness could turn Jake's supposed advantage into his downfall. Eddie Hearn, this is not boxing. Promoter Eddie Hearn, never one to sugarcoat things, nailed the issue. This fight will sell, he admitted. But selling tickets doesn't make it real boxing. That's Jake Paul in a nutshell, clever at generating hype, but hype is not legacy. Hearn argued that if you strip away the flashy promos, the YouTube antics, and the loudmouth bravado, what's left is a mismatch being marketed as a spectacle. Fans may buy in, the numbers may look impressive, but true boxing supporters see through it. This is not boxing.
I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way you could, any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Hearn said flatly. It's a sideshow. And by dragging serious fighters like Tank Davis into his carnival, Jake Paul is poisoning the sport. Hearn's refusal to endorse the fight shows exactly where purists stand. The money may flow, but don't insult the sport by pretending this is legitimate competition. Shakur Stevenson, Tank will dismantle him. Finally, Shakur Stevenson, one of the sharpest boxing minds of this generation, summed it up perfectly. Tank Davis, he said, is levels above Jake Paul. To Stevenson, the idea that Jake could win is laughable. Tank will dismantle him with ease, he said. He'll use his ring IQ, speed, and timing to pick apart Jake's raw amateur style. This won't even be close. For Stevenson, this isn't a fight, it's a clinic waiting to happen. Michael Bisping, Dana White, and boxing stars rip Jake Paul's circus fight with Gervonta Davis when legends across combat sports dismiss Jake Paul entirely.
Paul, I think when he weighed in for Mike Tyson, was 227 pounds. That is, if I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference. Almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. That is called one thing. That's called being a...
You know it's not fan bias, it's reality. Michael Bisping, the UFC Hall of Famer, didn't hold back. He labeled Jake Paul exactly what he sees him as: a bully. And he's right. At 227 pounds, Jake Paul towers over Gervonta Tank Davis, who fights at 135. The 100-pound difference isn't a detail, it's the defining factor. In boxing, size matters. When one man can simply lean, tie up, and push another around, it's not competition, it's bullying. Bisping, who's been through brutal wars inside the octagon, cut straight through the nonsense. This isn't courage, it's cowardice dressed up as showmanship. Jake claims he's giving Tank an opportunity, but the truth is he's trying to buy credibility off the back of a smaller man's legacy. Spencer Oliver, a bizarre mismatch. Former British champion Spencer Oliver called the fight completely bizarre. He painted the picture: imagine Tank Davis 5'5" and built for lightweight, stepping in against a 6'+ cruiserweight. That's not a...
my chances. I think Gervonta Davis actually beats him as well. He's one of the pound for pound best fighters in the world at lightweight. But it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? It's like you got a guy of 5'5" boxing a guy of 6' plus. Cruiserweight, yeah, it's just all a little bit odd. I feel if they're going to do an exhibition, perhaps Jake should have picked some.
Clash of equals. It's a mismatch pretending to be entertainment, and yet Oliver still backs Tank. That's how good Davis is. Pound for pound, his power and precision could erase the size gap. But Oliver's point stands: Tank shouldn't even be put in this position. If Jake Paul really wanted to test himself, he'd face a fighter his own size. Instead, he's dragging Tank into this circus for clout. Dana White, exploiting the system. UFC president Dana White sees the pattern clearly. Jake Paul never fights men his own size. White said. He compared it to when Logan Paul fought Floyd Mayweather. The size gap was staggering, and Jake is running the same playbook here. White respects Tank's power. He even says Davis might hit harder than Floyd. But the reality remains: Tank is simply too small. Jake will try to smother him, lean on him, and weaponize his extra pounds. That's not boxing, White argued. That's exploiting the system. If Jake believed in his skills, he'd fight a...
My brother, unfixable.
I don't hate your brother. You guys need to fight guys your the same size. When you fought Floyd, you are massive. He did hit you with a fucking bomb, and you fucking ate it. He's gonna fight Gervonta Davis.
Who do you got?
Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than Floyd, but he's too small. Your brother's gonna be able to get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up.
I hear your critique on fighting guys the same size as you. Is that why you guys wouldn't let me fight Conor?
Yeah, you're fucking huge. Conor weighs 145 pounds, 155 pounds.
Yeah, but he's
legitimate cruiserweight or light heavyweight. But he doesn't. He's banking on size, not talent, to carry him. To White, this is just another sideshow. Terence Crawford, not built for the truth. Pound for pound great Terence Crawford went straight for Jake Paul's ego. Crawford admitted Jake is improving as a fighter, but as a man, he's unbearable. Crawford believes Jake only acts tough when protected by money and bodyguards. But boxing strips all that away. It's one man against another, no entourage to hide behind. Jake isn't built for that moment of truth, Crawford warned, and Tank Davis might be the one to expose him brutally. The bigger picture: this so-called fight has split the boxing world. On one side stands Tank Davis, a proven pound-for-pound monster, respected for his knockout power and elite opposition. On the other stands Jake Paul, heavier, louder, and desperate.
Why though?
Cause I just don't like him. Like, I really don't like him. That's like,
just not your cup of tea. That's just not your.
Yeah, I don't like nothing about him. I just feel like, he just one of these little arrogant little dudes that's using what he got to shield him. He got a lot of security guards around him, and he's in the limelight and stuff like that. But in certain situations, he wouldn't be acting like.
To steal legitimacy from a smaller man. If Tank wins, it cements his reputation not just as a champion, but as the destroyer of hype jobs. If Jake somehow survives or by miracle wins, it would shake boxing to its core. But at what cost to the sport's credibility? The truth is simple. Tank Davis has the skill. Jake Paul has the size. But only one has the heart of a real fighter. So the question is, who are you backing? Tank Davis to humble the YouTuber once and for all, or Jake Paul to somehow turn this circus into the biggest upset boxing has ever seen?